No fewer than 8.4 million Nigerians will benefit from the federal government's social intervention project. Special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on social protection plan, Mrs. Mariam Uwais, said this in Abuja during a workshop on the National Social Protection Policy Framework. She explained that the special protection project was designed for delivery under 5 clearly defined programs to restore livelihoods, economic opportunities, and sustenance for the poor.
These are representatives of various ministries, departments and agencies that have roles to play in the federal government's social protection program. This meeting is putting a final touch on the framework for the policy that the government is hoping to use to reduce poverty. The plan has been designed to include an effective monitoring and evaluation system.
A social investment office has been set up under the Office of the Vice President in order to ensure effective monitoring and evaluation, to standardize delivery mechanisms to avoid duplication of roles and responsibilities, and to ensure proper coordination and synergy amongst the key ministries and also amongst the states.
The federal government has budgeted 500 billion naira for the social protection programs in the 2016 budget. The target here is to develop a policy that is comprehensive and all-inclusive.
This program has provisions for the full life cycle of an individual, from the unborn to the very, very old, from the ones that are weak and poor to the ones that are vulnerable, from the ones that are having temporary problems and can be assisted to get back on their feet, to the ones that are disabled or too old to do anything.
The 5 core programs of the government's social protection policy include Empower to create jobs for graduates and non-graduates, the homegrown school feeding program, the cash transfers, the enterprise and empowerment program, and the STEM bursary program.
A team comprising officials of the federal government and the International Fund for Agricultural Development have visited Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, as part of its 6-state tour geared towards improving rice and cassava value chains in the country. The IFAD Country Program Officer, Mr. Ben Odoemen, says there is need for a paradigm shift in agricultural practice in the country. He also advocates 70% youth involvement in agriculture, which he says is the best way of ensuring sustainability of the sector.
These are agricultural experts from Ogun, Anambra, Ebonyi, Niger, Benue and Taraba states. They are part of the states currently benefiting from the partnership between the federal government and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, in rice and cassava value chain programs for farmers. The program, according to the IFAD Country Program Officer Ben Odoemena, was conceived to ensure food security and diversification of the nation's economy.
We have seen a program that has caused a generational change in the age of farmers. Presently, we have over 70% of farmers in the program as youths.
Experts emphasize the need for entrenching agricultural entrepreneurship skills among the youths.
We should think beyond remaining in cooperatives, because when you remain in cooperatives, most things will be done the way they continue to be done. But when you develop the entrepreneurship of youth, you now have the opportunity to make them their own businessmen, to create jobs because they will employ jobs, and then to diversify.
The visit of IFAD has been a great eye-opener in terms of what they have seen on the field, and in terms of the type of orientation our people that have been seen in our people right now, in our farmers.
These collaborations no doubt will improve the country's yield from cassava and rice value chain. For this to become a reality though, the farmers have been told to embrace the 21 best practices in the agricultural sector.
The federal government has been advised to consider the option of attracting foreign direct investments as against plans to borrow. This opinion was provided at a meeting of the Harvard Business School Association of Nigeria, where the group also resolved to engage more in macroeconomic activities.
It's a meeting after work, put together for members of the Harvard Business School Association of Nigeria to reflect on the state of the Nigerian economy, and taking members down memory lane of the highs and lows of the Nigerian economy. An economist, Mr. Ayo Tariba, presents a picture of Nigeria's current account with the threats that lie ahead.
Each time we had it, we didn't have a crisis until after the first 20 years of independence. We got independence in 1960. The first crisis came about 1982. That time was different. That time, there were really no options but to just let go.
Mr. Tariba explains that the federal government's plans to fix the economy through borrowings has a superior option.
The more, reliable to depend on for transformation is FDI, because they also come with technology, they come with know-how, and they actually create assets and manage them, so they are less reversible.
President of the association, Mr. Ladi Balogun, centers his address on why the group must engage in fixing the economy.
We want to do this through advocating for policies and actions that will stimulate private sector investment generally, and more specifically, as was discussed in today's discussion, foreign direct investment into critical sectors such as transportation and power.
But a more balanced perspective on the economic antidote is offered by renowned economist Mr. Bismarck Rewani.
The borrowing is to serve two purposes. One, to fund the deficit, part of the deficit, and two, to fund projects, capital projects which the Nigerian government is promoting. So I do not see FDI as a substitute for investment, for borrowing, but it only complements borrowing.
Nigeria's debt-to-revenue ratio is projected to cross a 223% median from 181% to 259% in 2016. Perhaps a thought can be given to the views of these experts.
It's on the proper from the Havard Business School to take a walk into our business studios with Adeshwa Josh.
Thanks a lot, Sulaiman. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Business News. Ahead of the launch of the Naira settled over-the-counter FX futures market on Monday, June the 27th, the FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange has continued to engage with all participants to ensure a smooth takeoff. According to the Associate Vice President of the Exchange, Jumoke Olaniyan, sessions have been on to sensitize FX primary dealers, authorized dealers, and others about the market. The OTC FX futures transactions will be non-standardized with fixed tenors and bespoke maturity dates.
Engagements had been going on with all the stakeholders who would be involved in this, the authorized dealers in the market, both the FXPDs and non-FXPDs. Some sensitization is going on with potential clients who will be using this, more of the corporate businesses who will be the one who will use this. And from the central bank guidelines, the central bank had said this, they want to target this at corporate businesses and those who have investments who need the currency for business. So there's been sensitization on where you can get it, who you need to go to, why you should use the product in the first place, a bit of that. We've engaged authorized dealers in them understanding their role as intermediaries between the central bank and the eventual clients. They also have been setting up operationally on the systems. I remember I spoke to you about margining requirements and also posting the necessary collateral for that. So generally, everyone is gearing up for Monday.
Channels Television will bring you a live broadcast of our launch on Monday, June the 27th. Stay tuned. Meanwhile, the reintroduction of interbank foreign exchange market and significant impact on interbank lending rates as overnight lending rates eased to 15% on Friday. Debts and debits for FX purchases resulted in massive drop in interbank liquidity, opening Friday with a negative balance of 155 billion naira. The overnight rate had hit 74% on Tuesday and pulled the average rate to 30%. Dealers expect interbank lending rates to drop further next week because of expectations of cash flow from budget disbursement to government agencies. It was a bullish week at the Nigerian equities market following the full implementation of the new flexible exchange rate policy, which kicked off on Monday. Nevertheless, the local bourse ended Friday's session southwards in response to Britain's decision to leave the European Union. The all-share index rose by 4.79% to hit 30,649.66, while market capitalization increased to reach 10.53 trillion naira. Total volume climbed by 10.58% to 2.39 billion shares, worth 26.38 billion naira, and traded in 28,072 deals. Market breadth remained positive, with 40 gainers led by GlaxoSmithKline against 31 losers led by NEM Insurance. Banking stocks dominated the volume chart, with UBA maintaining the lead with 316.28 million shares. Meanwhile, trading relatively was quiet at the bond market this week. There was some bullish sentiment at midweek following the outcome of Wednesday's primary auction, where marginal rates came in higher than expected. The low system liquidity also drove negative sentiment during the week. Average yields closed higher by 62 basis points from the previous week. The short, mid and long-term debt papers expanded to 13.28%, 14.47% and 14.75% respectively. Analysts are expecting the market to kickstart next week on a bullish note. And it was a sea of red for markets globally on Friday after Britain surprisingly decided to leave the 28-member state bloc, the European Union. Brexit resonated across currencies, commodities and stock markets around the world. The yen and the euro were all down, while the pound plunged by 8.29% to a 30-year low. Major European stock markets all slumped, with France's CAC 30 posting the biggest loss of 8.04%. In Asia, Japan's Nikkei 225 index nosedived as much as 8% at one point and then posted its worst trading day since March the 15th, 2011. On Wall Street, the S&P 500 fell by 3.32% at midday, while Morgan Stanley Capital Index for African Frontiers Market was off track by 0.5%. Now, the impact on the commodities market saw oil prices slump, but gold rallied to a two-year high, rising a fifth day by 4.63% to $1,321 an ounce. Gold to the rescue. And that's business news this hour. The news at 10 continues in a moment. I'm Adeshewa Josh.
Well, thanks, George. Still ahead on the news at 10, Kano Pillars beat Nigeria Custom 71-53 to reclaim the Nigerian Basketball League title after losing it to Mark Mentors last year. That's in sports news. Stay with us.